Imagine a hidden sun rising from the underworld and melting the darkness from beneath. That convulsive heat felt even before its light is visible. You are the chosen one. You are written in the blood of a reign whose name no one yet knows, and the crown is not tired of waiting for you. Be silent no longer. The royalty that runs through your veins is pulsing to be remembered. Turn the hourglass of time upside down and walk towards the gates of the hidden kingdom. With each step, the stone stairs will reveal themselves. Come to your throne. The mighty whispers rise from the chest of secrets. For with your coming, rusty chains will break. Blind locks will open like flowers. Lost treasures are eager to return to the true heir. The mighty pen that carved the sky has written heir in golden letters on the line of destiny. So raise your voice. Fear cannot collect taxes from noble hearts. The fire of victory that rose from the ashes is now ready to blaze. Sit on your throne, raise your head, and reveal the hidden kingdom. Write 999 in the comments now, because the firmament has already begun to compose the song of your rule. They sketched elaborate pitfalls, poured fortunes into sabotage, and choreographed your collapse with military precision, only to watch every snafu mutate into rungs beneath your feet. The chart that should have charted your burial became a sightseeing route through victory, and the plotters, mouths agape, can only mutter at the shockwave their own designs unleashed across realms unseen. Where gloom was forecast, brilliance detonated. Each spike in your frequency triggered klaxons in watchtowers that span realities, rattling custodians who panic at humanity exceeding calibrated limits. Their finest artillery launched, yet the barrage backlit them like moths caught in stadium floodlights. Gravity native to your spirit locked them in orbit. They arrived as predators, but remain as specimens under glass. Remember that stretch when every pillar seemed to snap. Bank balance dwindled, friendships frayed, vitality sagged, prospects vanished, chaos in stereo. Their signature saturated the scene, yet your inner cartographer traced the overlay, labeling each tremor by origin and nullifying it with tailored responses. Confront here, transmute there, let silence suffocate the rest. Every snag now whispers like a sealed envelope. Crack the wax, harvest the treasure. The cosmos favors irony. Promotion delivered inside problems. Long ago, internal watchdogs wired trip beams along your energetic perimeter. The instant interference pricked the line. Dormant knowledge flicked on like emergency generators. Boots laced, plan ready. The tiredness is scaffolding, not defeat. Old frameworks implode, while steel for skyscrapers arrives. This midnight crush is the final squeeze before sunrise detonation. Hysteria among your foes verifies countdown. They empty the arsenal because your emergence has already made their calculations obsolete. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. External voices called the vision folly, but those sparks were etched into destiny's blueprints. Rescue felt delayed, yet internal wells were filling with tools only friction could refine. Each incision, though venomous, is already repurposed as an instrument of healing for crowds you've yet to meet. Imagine an old steam locomotive idling on forgotten tracks. boiler barely warm, iron wheels kissed by vines of time. One spark of coal, a hiss of steam, and that rust-worn engine lurches forward with fresh thunder, turning the abandoned rail yard into a launch pad. That's the season you've entered. Calendars can't keep up with you anymore. What once required 12 slow turns of the moon now takes one check of the wristwatch. Deadlines yank their hats off as you stride by, amazed that your timetable shrank while your vision swelled. Crops leap from seed to harvest almost overnight. Conversations that used to drag on for years now wrap up in a single, soul-honest sentence. It's acceleration without anxiety, velocity without turbulence, time itself volunteering to be your chauffeur. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Doors that once demanded keys, codes, and the correct handshake simply glide open like automatic glass at an airport. Even latches you've never touched recognize the assignment written on your name and choose to cooperate. Opportunities queue up as though heaven installed a fast-pass lane with your initials etched in gold. When you face resistance, it melts into fuel. Critics attempt to lock you down, yet their arguments ignite your engine and propel you farther. Obstacles surrender and rebrand themselves as launch boosters. Pressure others treat as poison converts into power inside your chest. The harder the squeeze, the higher the octane rating, until you're burning a blend no refinery on Earth can manufacture. You don't siphon this energy, it rises from within, the way sap climbs in spring after a brutal winter. Every no you ever heard becomes a megaphone shouting, "Yes," into the chambers of possibility. A pair of wings, feathered with resolve and ribbed by grace, unfurl behind your shoulder blades. You never signed up for aviation lessons, but here you are clearing walls that once marked the limits of acceptable ambition. Ceilings, formerly known as sky, now serve as welcome mats beneath your feet. Altitude gauges sputter, unprepared for how quickly you ascend, while naysayers below argue whether you've violated gravity or simply rewritten it. Let spectators squint. Commentators will clutch clipboards, tallying reasons you should be grounded. They'll demand spreadsheets explaining how someone like you crossed zones that require permission slips. Smile and keep cruising. A hawk does not submit flight logs to earthbound turtles. Outcomes, not explanations, are the currency of this new economy. Your life will serve as the demonstration model, the before and after living billboard, whether the audience applauds or agitates. So how does it feel to outrun timelines? Like standing in the middle of a river as the water parts around your ankles, wet enough to prove it's real, dry enough to keep walking. No need to debate tides or calculate rainfall. The evidence swirls at your feet. Rest happens on the go. Refreshment arrives in sips of inspiration, the way commuters grab coffee for the road. Seasons blur, but purpose clarifies like fog, giving way to mountain peaks at dawn. Keep your heart tuned to gratitude, because speed without thankfulness can cause vertigo. Appreciate every shortcut. Each is a love note from a universe that refuses to waste your potential. You won't always see the runway lights until you're airborne, yet every shift in altitude comes pre-approved by destiny's flight control. When people ask, "Who do you think you are?" let your deeds reply. Not with boast, but with fruit. A vineyard doesn't broadcast its growth cycle. It simply offers grapes sweeter than last season. In the same fashion, your accelerated progress will taste like hope, smell like fresh rain, look like impossible becoming ordinary. Remember, this surge isn't just about personal upgrades. Momentum multiplies so you can pull others into tailwind. Breakthrough breeds pathways, carving roads through rocks so caravans behind you find passage. Your advancement writes new policy for what is permissible. If you can accomplish in weeks what institutions schedule for decades, maybe the next dreamer won't be told to wait their turn. Maintain humility without surrendering boldness. The locomotive still whistles at crossings, warning, not apologizing, as it thunders past. In like manner, safeguard the unaware, but never dampen your roar. Let each mile mark testify that divine acceleration favors those who refuse to park in regret. Yes, some will misinterpret your ascent as arrogance. That's noise, not navigation. Weather patterns change by altitude. Birds don't adjust flight plans because barnyard animals complain about wind. Pilots trust instruments calibrated to horizons unseen from ground level. Your internal compass, tuned by spirit, is now set to beyond. The takeaway is simple. Explanations are short-term, outcomes long-lasting. History books care little for how. They trumpet the what. Cities rebuilt, families restored, inventions launched, possibilities normalized. You will sign your chapter in deeds. Leave footnotes to those with time to argue. Your docket is full of doing. Breathe in the thin, crisp air of new elevation. Feel muscle fibers adapt to lighter atmosphere where faith supplies oxygen conventional lungs can't process. Pace yourself by intuition, not by calendars that expired the moment you stepped into rapid acceleration. Stay generous with kindness. Speed multiplied by compassion writes the most beautiful math. And when twilight threatens fatigue, recall the locomotive. Momentum carries even when fireboxes rest. Coast on grace until sunrise stokes the boiler again. Then throw another shovel of resolve into the furnace and let the day marvel at how effortlessly tracks appear beneath wheels that refuse to quit. Outcomes over explanations. That remains your anthem, your contract, and your gift to a watching world. Imagine an old grandfather clock tucked away in your childhood attic, its pendulum frozen, its chimes silenced, its brass gears stiff with decades of dust. Neighbors swore the clock was finished, good for nothing but decoration. Then one evening, a single shaft of sunset fell through a cracked window and struck the face of that forgotten timekeeper. Something deep inside clicked, the pendulum swung, and suddenly the whole house rang with a melody no one alive had ever heard before. That clock didn't just start ticking again, it reset the rhythm of the rooms around it, announcing a brand new hour you didn't know existed. That's the season you've entered. Thoughts planted by outsiders once dangled like broken springs in your mind. Unsteady tick-tocks of, am I good enough? And what if I fail? But the sunlight of revelation has reached the gears now, and every doubt that tried to stall your spirit is being repurposed into motion that drives your purpose forward. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. All across your history, invisible hands tried to program delay. They whispered backdoor codes into your heart, hoping you'd press snooze on destiny. Yet here you are, standing on the exact coordinate where 3 sevens collide. That's not just any spot on the map. It's the spiritual ground zero of divine completion. In Scripture, the number 7 marks the finish line of creation. The exhale after work, well done. Stack those 7s 3 high, and you're looking at a full system reboot. Body, soul, and spirit synchronized to God's eternal clock. Now the old sabotage scripts hit delete. Treachery that once felt like poison converts into fertilizer, feeding the soil beneath your next harvest. The betrayals, they sting, yes, but notice how sharp edges can cut both ways. Scars harden into steel, forging blades of testimony that slice through every lie about who you are. Whole neighborhoods of chaos once held court in your head, streets echoing with confusion, alleys littered with regret. Yet one breath of freshly aligned identity, and those unruly regions straighten up like soldiers at roll call. Peace is no longer a visitor, it's the new sheriff in town, and disorder hands over the keys without a fight. Picture yourself walking into that same attic now. The old clock doesn't just tick, it sets pace for a symphony. Cobwebs shiver off rafters, trunks snap open, childhood joys you forgot return, vibrant as ever. Minutes expand into wide-open possibilities. You're not just on time, you're in Kairos time, that heaven-infused now where endless potential meets present moment. Let's get plain. Those second-guessing thoughts, they were imported goods, not grown in your garden. Someone else's insecurity tried to graft onto your confidence like a parasite, but your spiritual immune system recognized the foreign DNA and coded an antidote, unwavering worth. The moment 777 lit up your inner dashboard, counterfeit seeds lost their soil. Think of it this way: a farmer can sow weeds among wheat, but harvest day makes the difference obvious. Weeds dry up into brittle stubble. Wheat bends heavy with golden promise. Your mind's harvest is arriving, and everything that doesn't add value crumbles in the heat of revelation. No need to yank each weed by hand. Just gather the grain, and the chaff will blow away on its own. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Now, about those scars. We don't deny them, we designate them. A scar is proof you made it through the valley and lived to tell the story. Where others see damage, heaven sees documentation. A believer without scars is like a soldier without medals. Nice to look at, but the testimony carries no weight. Your healed places become handle grips for people still climbing out of pits you've already escaped. Let's talk favor. Not the polite smile from a banker or the token nod from a boss. No, we're talking favor that rearranges whole systems. Favor that changes policies to fit your assignment. Favor that opens doors so wide you forget there was ever a wall. Treachery tried to block you, but God's favor showed up like a divine locksmith, recutting every key. Where bribes once locked you out, blessings now usher you in. Region by region, your influence spreads. It's like tuning an old radio dial. The static of confusion fades as clarity snaps into frequency. One moment you're straining to make sense of the noise, the next you're singing along to lyrics you somehow already knew. That's alignment. That's the 777 reset echoing through every arena you touch. Family gatherings, board meetings, grocery store aisles. It even seeps into digital spaces where a single post carries deliverance wrapped in everyday language. You might ask, why me? Why now? Because destiny doesn't run on random. 777 isn't a slot machine win. It's the culmination of design. Before your grandparents danced their first dance, coordinates were logged, angels were briefed, resources were pre-positioned. The moment self-doubt reached maximum pressure, the release valve of purpose opened, and the countdown began. Listen close. The universe is not punishing you with resistance. It's polishing you through friction. Diamonds are carbon under tension. Gold is rock refined by fire. You're becoming a living treasure, tested, tempered, and trusted. Those who wrote you off will need a reservation to catch a glimpse of what God's unveiling. And to my seasoned saints, those 49 and older who've tasted enough disappointment to fill a reservoir, let me say this in the plain talk of a Sunday potluck. It ain't over till God says so. If breath still rolls in and out of your lungs, there's chapter after chapter waiting in his typewriter. Gray hair is not a period, it's an underline. Wisdom is trending, folks, and experience is about to cash big checks. Consider Moses. At 40, he fought a battle the wrong way and fled into exile. At 80, God lit a bush and called him to set nations free. 80, that's 777+1, overflow territory. If Moses could reinvent destiny while collecting social security in desert darkness, what's to stop you from stepping into civic leadership, starting that nonprofit, finishing that degree? Maybe you've carried betrayal like a heavy purse, digging fingers into old pain whenever memories jingle. Today, let's empty that bag and swap it for a toolbox. All those hurtful moments become instruments. The snide remark morphs into a wrench, tightening your boundaries. The broken promise becomes a level measuring true alignment. Before long, treachery can't touch you. It's supplying your workshop. Take inventory of scars. Don't hide them, highlight them. Give each healed wound a name. Provision, redemption, second chance. And watch atmospheres respond. People don't line up to see flawless perfection. They hunger for hope, wrapped in real skin. When you testify with scars visible, the room exhales. Authenticity breaks the back of shame and invites every captive heart to come home. Bedlam once claimed squatters' rights in your mind, shouting discouragement at dawn. Today, those rowdy voices stand evicted. Peace wrote the eviction notice, and praise escorted them off the premises. Now, rooms once filled with chaos become classrooms of creativity. Ideas move in where anxiety once chewed the furniture. Laughter hangs fresh curtains. Purpose paints the walls a hopeful shade. Let's keep the analogy alive. That grandfather clock you restarted, it's chiming hours of opportunity, and each gong shakes open new compartments. One chime for restored health, another for financial increase, another for healed relationships. Don't cover your ears. Count those gongs. Celebrate their arrival. Sound carries vibrational power. The more you rejoice, the louder solutions resonate in your atmosphere. Maybe you worry the clock will stop again. Hear me. The spring inside has been replaced with eternity's coil. Your job isn't to wind it, only to keep the room clear of clutter so nothing jams the gears. Clutter looks like lingering resentment, side-eye comparisons, doom-scrolling mentalities. Sweep the floor daily with gratitude, mop it with forgiveness. A clean environment allows uninterrupted momentum. Remember David, the shepherd who penned psalms between lion fights. When self-doubt hissed, he reached for testimony. The same God who delivered me from the paw of the lion will deliver me from this giant. He didn't say, maybe. He said, will. Speak your own will. Use past victories as future contracts. The enemy can't foreclose on what heaven underwrites. Now let's address endurance. 777 alignment doesn't erase challenge, it recalibrates response. You'll still face days when emotions dip, but dips become ramps for greater launch. Like a skateboarder using a half-pipe, you convert downward momentum into upward lift. Sadder songs now slide into power anthems. Setbacks shrink into stepping stones so quick, you almost thank them for showing up. Almost. I hear someone asking, what if I misread the signs? Friend, the GPS of grace has rerouting built in. Even if you take the scenic detour through suspicion or fear, the preacher in your chest recalculates without scolding. He says, at the next opportunity, make a U-turn. 777 coordinates remain fixed. Your path gravitates back by magnetic mercy. Practical application: journal the journey, write 3 sentences each morning. Capture wins, lessons, and next steps. Written record turns intangible progress into tangible proof. Bless the betrayer, pray genuine good over anyone who hurt you. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve release. Blessing severs emotional leashes. Speak future forward. Replace I hope with I expect. Expectation pulls tomorrow's goodness into today's soil. Touch the timeline. Share your story with someone younger. Your voice in their ear can shave years off their learning curve. Honor the clock. Schedule rest. Acceleration isn't exhaustion, it's efficient progress. Even Jesus napped in a hurricane. Finally, lift your chin. You are living proof that sabotage can become scaffold. The same breath that once quivered with doubt now issues royal decrees. 777 territory isn't a vacation, it's headquarters. From here, strategies flow, communities heal, and legacies rise taller than city skylines. So when next week's calendar flips and a fresh challenge comes dressed like a problem child, smile like a seasoned principal. You've already rewritten the curriculum. Classroom chaos obeys the voice of authority, and authority just walked in wearing your shoes. Welcome to the hour none thought you'd reach, chimed by a clock everyone forgot. Keep it ringing. The attic is alive again, and the rest of the house, nay the neighborhood, will soon dance to its newfound time. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Feelings once judged excessive function as satellite arrays, capturing data imperceptible to blunt antennae. Simply entering a system wired on fear throws breakers. Their circuitry cannot reconcile your wavelength. Any hostility faced is structural tremor, not personal vendetta. Dream corridors deliver encrypted battle codes. Catalog them. Years of seclusion allowed original architecture to form. Companions arriving now will honor, not edit, that design. Resistance intensity mirrors the global significance of your liberation. Ripple radius expands far beyond the self. Strange abilities surfacing under heat are programmed features, not glitches. Pauses labeled delay are staging areas where reinforcements assemble. The quiet certitude steering illogical leaps marks calibration, with guidance systems running deeper than thought. Mental theater is the front line. An emancipated imagination invalidates prisons built on assumed limits. A governance mantle, heavier than applause, yet buoyant with backing, descends, granting charter to reorder domains where disorder once set terms. Schemes targeted self-recognition to stunt operational range. Now identity floods in clearest hues. Gates once bolted swing wide. Recurring symbols in the midnight classroom sketch maps for territory acquisition. Apply them, and boundaries redraw themselves. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Enemy analytics confirm irreversible upgrades in your framework. Feverish disruptions broadcast their fear of obsolescence. Temporary stalls are tactical holds, letting supply lines sync with vulnerability windows. Assistance lands by strategic calculus, not emotional preference. Trust that vector pulling contrary to common sense. It aligns with coordinates foreign to fear economies. Presence alone destabilizes regimes propped on scarcity. Spoken decrees overwrite old code. Bystanders evolve into pioneers. Each frantic recalculation by opposition only underlines what eternity already stamped. Your ascendancy is non-negotiable, and their master plan was always destined for the recycle bin.